Good afternoon.
Treasurer.
Good afternoon. I'm Jose Cisneros, the elected treasurer of the City and County of San Francisco, and this is my colleague, Lee Phillips, director of our Office of Financial Empowerment. We believe local government can be a major driver of change in increasing financial security for low-income communities. So we created the San Francisco Office of Financial Empowerment to lead these efforts for our city. Our kindergarten to college program is perhaps our proudest accomplishment to date. Did you know that in the U.S., only 8% of kids born into low-income families will complete college by their mid-20s? This simply has to change. In 2011, San Francisco launched the first universal automatic college savings account program. Our goal was to establish a model that automatically enrolls every student in savings, that creates a culture of savings in San Francisco public schools, and demonstrates that a public investment in child savings is a worthwhile use of taxpayer funds. In San Francisco today, every child begins school in the financial mainstream with a financial asset in his or her name. We were motivated to create K2C by research findings from the University of Kansas that found that students with college savings, even less than $500, are 3 times more likely to enroll in college and 4 times more likely to graduate than those without. We set out to bring the promise of savings to every child with a relatively simple idea: help families save early and often for post-secondary education by removing logistical barriers and providing saving incentives that work for low-income families.
Kindergarten to college is designed around several core principles. Universality. Every child receives an account regardless of income or documentation status. Automatic enrollment. No paperwork or parent signatures are required to start saving. Public funding to ensure longevity of the program, and savings incentives that make sense for low-income families who typically don't benefit from tax-advantaged savings vehicles. Starting K2C wasn't easy. Our commitment to automatic and universal accounts meant wading into uncharted territory. How would we open accounts for thousands of 5-year-old children without requiring parent signatures or social security numbers? There was no existing financial product on the market at that time that could meet our program goals. We tried hard to work with 529 providers, but they could not accommodate automatic opening or universal accounts. So we turned to mainstream financial institutions and decided to build our own account model. Citibank stepped forward to design the account platform and pave the way for K2C to become a reality. We innovated to create an opt-out college savings program in which the city is the custodian and each child receives a trust account in his or her own name. Accounts are opened with confidential information provided by the school district. Families can contribute to the accounts by mail, in branch, online, or by direct deposit. So how does K2C work? Every child entering a public school kindergarten class receives a college savings account at Citibank with an opening deposit of $50 from the City and County of San Francisco. An additional $50 deposit is available for the 60% of our children who are enrolled in the National School Lunch Program. Savings incentives are provided by private philanthropy, a 1-to-1 match for the first $100 in savings, and a $100 Save Steady bonus for 6 months of consistent savings. By integrating into the San Francisco Unified School District, kindergarten to college is able to directly reach a diverse constituency of mostly low-income families and leverage the trust families have with educators and community partners to promote the importance of saving early and often for college.
So in 4 years, K2C has created 19,000 student account holders, and by 2017, all kids in elementary school will have accounts. And the early results are positive. 2,500 families are saving, which is roughly 14%. This is over 4 times greater than national participation in 529 college savings accounts.
Could you say that again?
This is over 4 times greater than national participation in 529 college savings accounts, according to a 2012 study by the GAO. Families have contributed over $1.1 million of their own money for college, and when you add in city deposits and matching philanthropic dollars, the total balance increases to over $2.5 million. Most remarkably, 1 out of every 2 active K2C savers receives free or reduced school lunch. This means that the poorest families in our city have savings on average of $500. K2C is proving that low-income families can save for college and will save for college when given the right opportunity and incentives. K2C has paved the way for other municipalities to launch similar initiatives across the U.S. We now host regular webinars to provide technical assistance for many cities and states. K2C is creating a savings-based approach to college financing as an alternative to a borrowing approach, while simultaneously cultivating college-bound identities for every child in San Francisco. We're beginning to build a foundation for lifelong asset accumulation and financial capability. Thank you for the opportunity to share our program with you.
I must say, I think it's a very, very exciting program. I think you've done a terrific job. I was curious, you said $1.5 million has been given by the families?
1.1 million.
1.1 million. And do you know which families, I mean, how much are from the free and reduced lunch program families?
Excellent question, and we wanted to determine that as accurately as we could. So one thing we get from the school district to open up the accounts is the demographic information for each child. Highly confidential information, but they can share it with us because we're another government.
Yeah.
So we get name of the child, date of birth, home address, and so on. All the information we need to open the accounts. We don't, however, get automatically whether or not they're receiving free or reduced school lunch. But what we did was we took the names of our 2,500 account holders and we just handed them back to the school administration and asked them to please just count, tally up how many of those are receiving free and reduced lunch, and it was 50%.
Got it. And then the other question that interested me, you're also combining this with financial education in the schools, I heard. And do you know how that's going? Because oftentimes it doesn't go well unless people have savings, and now that they do have savings, it might go better. So I was interested in that.
So one of the things that most excites us about the program is the universal nature does mean that every child has an account. So the opportunity to teach real life financial education with an asset is very good and very high. It's very difficult to integrate into our public schools without any kind of a mandate. And I remember one time being in a district office and they showed me the shelf of dusty binders of curriculum that people had sent them over the years and expected them to teach. So we worked very hard with the math curriculum director to design K and first grade curriculum for our students. We train the teachers every year on that and on the program. We're again working with our STEM department to kind of advance that to the higher grade levels. We do our own in-classroom financial education, and we've begun field trips to the bank where the kids are bringing their own piggy banks and they come and they fill out their own deposit slips, they make their deposits at the teller window and are receiving financial education that way as well.
Yeah, one of the issues that we look at is the ability to transfer the program, and it certainly seemed like you had to go through some immense work with Citibank and looking at others to try to develop the financial infrastructure for this. How transferable is this? Is Citibank looking at this as a product of sorts to bring to other municipalities? What's the thinking?
Certainly, Citibank is very proud of this. They're a real leader in areas of microfinance and all sorts of innovative approaches to reach out to low-income communities. But what we're doing is we're talking to a number of other municipalities who are working with any of a number of different financial institutions. And actually, I know a number of states are working with 529 providers. Maybe not exactly the same type of children's savings account program. For example, states might use an omnibus 529 account model that automatically creates deposits for every child in a community and invites families to open up another account, 529 account, for their own individual savings and matches. So there's a bunch of different models. We're excited to continue to build the platform and the technology that supports ours, and as we do that, we're going to share it with other municipalities.
So just a quick follow-up then. If saved at the lowest level, the program's only a few years in
Right.
to making it currently. Is there a target number at the end at senior year in high school that you would anticipate people being if they've stayed involved in the program, what kind of savings they will have accumulated?
Well, I mean, we're focused right now on participation rates, so number of people savings. The research indicates that even relatively small dollar amounts are impactful. So we have some schools saving at 20 to 25%, so we know it's possible to begin engaging more students. Some of those schools have free and reduced lunch enrollments of 80% plus. So right now we're working on refining outreach and marketing to engage more students. It's really hard to predict. We get asked a lot, how much should I be saving, you know, and college financing is a very complex field, as we were kind of semi-joking yesterday. For a low-income student, it's cheaper to come here than it is to go to community college. And so explaining that to families and trying to set specific targets is a challenge. So what we're focusing on now is any amount of savings is going to be impactful. So whatever you can afford, we want to make it as easy for you as possible to do that.
Yes, go ahead, Ed.
Have you ever thought about how you might actually pay interest on these accounts? I know that's a barrier right now that you have to cross, but is there a way to simulate the payment of interest?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and a lot of families are concerned about that. Two points to make on that. Certainly, what we've done by raising these match incentives is I think we have one of the best interest rates in town. For the first $100 you put in the account, your interest rate's effectively 100%, because we'll match you dollar for dollar. I'd love to get that deal anywhere else. The second thing is we have other incentives for steady savings or for families, children involved in the free and reduced price lunch. Beyond that, we share some of the earnings we make on the monies in what we call growth matches as accumulation grows. But one of the things we're looking at is an interest rate on, say, money market rate of interest these days is not going to amount to much of anything today, and chances are not much of anything anytime in the near future. So when balances are low, on a dollar basis, that difference is not really going to add up to a large amount of cash money difference. But when balances grow, obviously it could start to really impact earning capabilities. So what we're looking to do is to begin in the future, near future, to be able to offer families with growing balances the opportunity to, on their own, opt into more of a true 529 equities-based account and really put the bulk of their savings there, an appropriate place for those kind of balances to grow and be saved for college. We really see this program as a great incubator for child savings and not necessarily a place to put huge amounts of money.
In terms of even wider scale transferability, applicability, where the United States savings rate just is off the cliff when it comes to low, moderate income families, what do you think the lessons learned there are for government acting in an innovative, creative way to spur savings along a number of public goods?
We have a number of programs, and I know Lee can add to this, that really engage low-income families with all sorts of financial products, most importantly, asset building and savings accounts to help them build for important life goals, whether that's financing college for themselves or their children, buying a home, or starting a business. So we're really looking at how we can continue to educate folks the value of increasing assets over time so that they can have important life opportunities.
So I think we try and learn from behavioral economics, and that's why we went for the opt-out model. And so we find that if you remove the barriers to decision-making or inertia, we just give everyone the account. They automatically get the account card in the mail with instructions of how to start saving. And I think that's why we're seeing such strong and positive results. People trust us, as local government. They trust the school system, and I think we're seeing that's having an impact as well. There have been several federal policies related to child savings that have been brought up over the years, and what we're really hoping to do is to pave the way for some of those policies to become a reality, and by demonstrating that this works. And I think we find that tax credits are more effective for low-income families than tax deferments, because low-income families aren't paying taxes. So giving back a credit is going to be more impactful than not paying taxes on the front end.
Are there other ways that you're trying to use it, say, programmatically leverage this? A lot of cities have a lot of initiatives to foster college matriculation, graduation, across a range of families, particularly low, moderate income. Are there other things that San Francisco's doing that this partners with in terms of trying to get better outcomes in terms of graduation attendance and all that?
Yeah, so we would see kindergarten to college as the finance piece of the school district's mission to create a college-going culture. So they're looking at a whole range of topics, and academic behavior, attendance. We're trialing in 3 schools a very small attendance incentive to try and increase school attendance rates. But what we're really looking to do is to create a platform that can be leveraged for a variety of uses. So, we're listed in the education category, but we're really finance people. We're the treasurer's office. And so we saw that as the missing piece, that financial insecurity is preventing a lot of people from attending college and completing college. So if we can help students save and learn about money management, then our students are going to be more successful when they do make it.
And is Citibank losing money on this?
Citibank won't say, but they're not charging us any fees or the account holders any fees to date. They haven't promised that will continue forever, but to date, they've been very supportive of the program.
Thank you. It seems like it's a lot of work for them, and I'm glad they're doing it.
Could I ask just one more question? A lot of discussion about underbanked communities. Is there a correlation between better banking of the population here? I would imagine there is, huh?
What we're finding is that, I honestly believe there is, I can't say that we have any hard data to back that up. What we're finding is that the overwhelming majority of first-time deposits are actually made by families, parents walking into a bank branch and going up to a teller window and making that deposit. And even when you look at all the deposits, many of them, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 deposits down the road, still at least half, are made by walking into a bank branch. I think some of these families, the parents may not even be banked. This going into deposit into their K-to-C account for their child is the first time they're dealing with a mainstream financial institution.
And we also wanted to make sure that every child began life with an account of some kind, so that over time we can reduce the effects of the unbanked.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
and congratulations.